for the celebration of the centennial of the incorporation of the Village of Mamaroneck. We are having very special interviews with senior citizens who have lived in the Village of Mamaroneck for 75 or more years. And today we have Marie Ehrbar Malinowski.
Right.
And Marie, you were born in Mamaroneck?
I was born in the house I live in right now.
The house you live in now?
Yes.
Where is the house?
At 521 Jefferson
Jefferson
Avenue.
Avenue. Oh my goodness. Have you ever lived any other place besides there?
Never.
Just
never.
in that house? Oh, that is something very special, and very, very few people have had that privilege to live in that house you're born in. How wonderful. And so when were you born?
August 26, 1915.
1915. So, so that makes you, let's see now, 79?
79,
Oh,
right.
that's wonderful, Marie.
I
God
can't
bless
wait
you. Look
for
very
80.
good. Can't wait for 80. That's a special year.
I don't know. I just
Sure,
sort of, you know, hope you make that one.
So, Marie, you have shared something with us so very, very special, which is a picture of you when you were 4 years old. So this would have been in 1919?
Right.
Oh, and I absolutely love that curl in the middle of your forehead. Yeah, there once was a girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. It is just beautiful. Beautiful picture. So who were your mother and father?
They were John and Mary Ehrbar.
Ehrbar, John. And what did John do as his
He worked
business?
in a woodworking mill. He worked, like they called them, inside carpenters.
Oh, really? And
They
really
made
cutting the wood from the very
wood.
beginning?
Well,
Where
they
did
made
he-
like moldings and all the special trims and things like that,
I
you see,
Yeah.
that they used
Where
mostly
did-
inside the
Where
houses.
did he work? Did he work in Mamaroneck?
Well, he started out at Brewers.
At Brewers. Oh,
That's why they moved here to Mamaroneck.
to Mamaroneck. Where did they move from?
My father lived in Mount Vernon and my mother lived in New Rochelle.
Oh, so
And when
so
they got married, they moved to
to
Mamaroneck.
Mamaroneck. Oh, isn't that wonderful? And we have you here all of these years. That's really wonderful. And what were, here's a picture of your mother and father and your brothers
My
and
three brothers and my one sister.
3 brothers and 1 sister. And you're here at the edge on the right or the
Yes.
left, whatever. Here, the older, the older daughter.
girl.
Older daughter. And this picture was taken in 1924.
That's right.
Any special event? Because ordinarily we didn't have cameras at that time.
We were celebrating my grandmother and grandfather's 50th wedding
50
anniversary.
Oh, isn't that special? So special. What were your mother and father's names?
Well, my mother's name was Mary and my father's name was John.
Oh, John and Mary.
Yes.
So, what school did you go to?
I went to Holy Trinity and then I went to Rhinebeck.
Rhinebeck.
Graduated from Rhinebeck High School.
So you went to Holy Trinity through the 8th grade?
For 8th grade,
So
yes.
you graduated from Holy Trinity
That's right.
in 8th grade. And of course you have a picture, sharing a picture of that graduation also, and that would have been
1928.
28 graduation. And the priest there in the center is Father
Father Phelan.
Phelan, P-H-E-L-A-N?
That's right.
Uh-huh. That was quite a large graduating class.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess in comparison to previous years.
It was, uh-huh. Did you feel anything strange about then leaving Holy Trinity that you had gone to for 8 years and going to that big public school, Rhinebeck?
Well, it wasn't too bad because some of the girls that I graduated with went
Came with
up
you.
there and
Yes.
some of the boys.
Sure, sure.
So that sort of helped, you know,
Of
and then
course.
of course
Uh-huh.
you meet new people
Sure.
and it's always nice.
Well, one of the things that I've been asking is when you went to school, did you carry your lunch? Did you bring your lunch?
No, we went home because
You went home
we were
for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was quite
That
a
was
walk.
Carroll Avenue.
Yes. Yeah.
On rainy days we stayed. We
Oh,
were,
I
we were
see.
allowed to
Sure,
stay on
sure.
rainy days.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any special memories about your school days, or what is different now from then?
Well, the main thing I remember is that when we went through the halls of the school, it was always, you had to be very quiet. No one could
Really?
talk.
No talking?
No talking or anything when we
I
went
mean,
through the
and
halls.
for one thing, you couldn't talk in your classroom either unless you
No.
were answering.
Right. But
Oh, I don't know.
that was one thing that was very
That was
thing
very
at the
different.
time.
Yes, yes. That
Now
you
you
just
go to the high school and it's jabba jabba
Jab-
jabba.
Yeah, yeah. Which is fine. I
Yes,
see nothing wrong with jabber jabber. I
No.
mean, it's enough to be disciplined during class so that you do get
Yeah.
all the instruction. Was there anything special that your family did in Mamaroneck, socially or with the church or something that you might remember?
Well, my mother and a group of ladies, they all had these card parties at home that helped to
Raise funds.
raise funds
for different,
for the classrooms in
Oh,
Holy Trinity when they built the
uh-huh.
new school,
Yes.
because that's a new school. I didn't graduate from that school.
You graduated from the old school.
From the old school.
Was the old school in the same place?
Yes.
It was. How
They
was it
they moved
different?
it back from there. Well, it was wood in the first place. It was
Yeah.
shingled and so on.
How large was it? Was it a class, a room for every class?
Yes, it was a room for every class.
So they had 8 classes.
Right.
Did they have an auditorium or a gym?
Yes, we had we had an auditorium, no gym.
No gym. Yeah, yeah.
But it was.
Oh. And of course, you only had nuns teaching.
That's right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
All
Were
of the
they very
classes.
strict?
Some of them were stricter than others.
Well, but that's
on
the same
whole,
way
they
with
weren't.
teachers.
That's
You know,
right.
with our public teachers today, you get some who are quite, disciplinarians, and others that are
That's right.
more relaxed. Yeah, yeah. Do you remember any parades in town? Or did you go do anything in the harbor? Did you go swimming?
Well, we didn't swim in the harbor so much. They used to, I have a vague recollection of a place like behind the Elks Club there. Was there a little something?
I'm told that there was a beach there, behind the Elks, yes, yeah.
And we used to
I
go
know
there
was
once in a
dock
while.
there, yes.
Yeah.
And
Right.
in fact, when I saw when I spoke to the 4th grade class at Bellows a couple of weeks ago, and I asked them, why did they think Beach Avenue was named Beach Avenue? And they said, well, there must have been a beach. And I said, but I didn't know of any beach. But since then, I have then found from other people telling me that, yes, there was a beach
I can't
behind
remember
the
what they
Elks
called
Club.
it, though.
Uh,
But I just have this vague recollection
Yeah.
of us going there
Was
rather
it
than to
anything
the
to
harbor.
do with maybe Trinity School that was there across the street from the Methodist Church? You
I
don't
have no
remember.
idea.
You don't remember?
No.
No. Yeah.
I was very young at that time when we went there.
Uh-huh.
In later years, my mother and my grandmother used to take us by trolley up to Oakland
To
Beach.
Oakland, yeah.
Used to ride the
By
trolleys.
trolley. Uh-huh. Where did you take the trolley?
It went right up Halsted Avenue.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Oh. Do you remember how much the fare was?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah. Did you ride the trolley in your swimsuit, or was there a place to change?
No, there were
in?
bathhouses
There were
up there
bathhouses, so
that
you
we
didn't
could
have to
change.
come home in a
Soaking
wet,
wet.
sandy suit.
No.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Did you especially like the trolleys?
Oh, that was a great day for us
Great
if we went
day.
for a trolley
Uh-huh.
ride,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Oh,
Just like the
wonderful.
children now, they
Uh-huh.
enjoy train
Sure.
rides, you know. It's
During Depression, Dad still worked at Brewers, so that there
no,
was
in the meantime, he had worked for another, Adams, Fowler, and Hoffman. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yeah.
They were down on Hoyt Street, down around Hoyt Street.
Yes, yes,
There
now I
was a-
remember.
mhm.
Uh-huh. On
He
Hoyt
worked
Street.
there.
Yes, yeah, very good.
But he was out of work for quite a while during the Depression.
Of course, and it was hard.
Mm.
And I'm sure that they had a garden to
Oh, yes.
have your vegetables and all. That helped quite a bit. But tell me, during World War II, when were you married?
1948. It was
48,
after
so that was after the war.
Mhm.
And who did you marry?
Frank Malinowski.
Frank, was he a local boy?
Oh, yes.
Yes, did you know him before the war? Did you date him before?
No, I knew him, but I didn't
You
date
didn't
him. I
date
didn't
him.
know him that well.
So it was really after the war that then you met and went on with your life.
Right.
In fact, you have your wedding photograph when you married Frank Malinowski in 1948. What day?
April 10th.
April 10th. Oh, beautiful. You look just
that was a
beautiful.
day.
You were married at Holy Trinity?
That's right.
And then you went on to have an apartment in Mom's house. Is that what occurred?
That's what we did, yes.
Yeah. Oh, what kind of work did Frank do?
Frank was a civil engineer.
Oh,
He
wasn't
worked
that nice?
in New York City at the time when he was married.
Yes.
Previous to that, he had worked many, like for the
number of
WPA
places.
and so
Oh, he
on
did?
during the
Oh, really?
during the Depression,
Where did he work on WPA?
Well, he worked on I think he worked on that bridge in Mamaroneck there that goes across Hillside.
Of course, yes.
And
the
also
Hillside
they
Avenue
worked,
Bridge.
they
I
worked.
believe there's a date on there that says,
Yeah.
maybe 33 or 34 WPA. I mean,
Yeah.
it does have a date on it. When he worked on that, oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
The Mamaroneck Village
I'm not
was,
positive of that, but I think he did.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that he probably said something when he went over it or drove over or something. That wasn't too far from the house,
Right.
Yeah. Do you have any children, Marie?
I have 6 children.
You have 6?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
3 boys and 3 girls.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Oh, are any of them still in town in Mamaroneck?
3 of them are in town.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's,
One in Virginia, and one in Maryland,
Yes.
and one in Carmel, New York.
Yes. Oh, well, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But that's nice that you do have some around.
Oh,
And
yes.
6 children. Oh, dear. Are you a grandmother?
8 times.
8 times. Marie. Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
That just to have a family that's close around you and just continuing the life here in the village of Mamaroneck. Tell me, what do you think is the best about Mamaroneck, that you've lived here all of your life?
I don't know. I've just gotten so used to living
So
here
used to it, yes.
and the friends and
that's
neighbors
it.
and so on.
I
You
think
get
the people here are
people,
simply
yes.
wonderful.
Mhm.
We care about each other.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, Marie Urbar Malinowski, thank you so very much for this most interesting talk. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Continuing our interviews with seniors who have lived in the village of Mamaroneck for 75 or more years, we have with us right now Margie Funicello Graver. Hello, Margie.
Hi.
Welcome. It's good to have you here and to find out about your special life here in Mamaroneck.
Yeah.
Where were you born?
I was born in Mamaroneck
Really? Where?
on Center Avenue.
Center Avenue. Now, I remember the Funicellos living on Center Avenue forever.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we lived a long time.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 1920.
Is the house still in the Funicello?
The house is still there, but it was sold.
It was sold just
Yes.
recently.
Yeah, well, it's a few years
A few-
now.
uh-huh,
yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah.
So, who were your mother and father?
My mother was Angelina,
Yeah.
and
What was her maiden name?
DeQuisto.
DeQuista.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And your father?
Anthony.
Anthony.
Yeah.
And when did they move to Mamaroneck?
1920.
And why did they move to Mamaroneck?
Well, my sister was married to Tony Posher, and he was a builder, so he decided to build a house for us,
Oh, my.
and that's how we came to Mamaroneck.
Did he build it large enough for the
No.
big Funicello family?
No,
Huh?
no, it was
No?
small.
It was-
Then we kept adding on
Oh.
as the family got
As the family
bigger.
grew,
Yeah.
sure.
Then my brother John Funicello was a carpenter, and he kept adding on to the house.
Of course. Building on to accommodate all
Yeah.
of it. How many children were there in the Funicello
Well, we were
family?
7 girls and two. I had 7 sisters and 2 brothers.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah.
Where are you in the 7?
I'm the baby.
You're the baby, so
I'm
you
the-
are the last one.
Yeah, yeah.
So that all the other children were born somewhere else.
Yeah.
In Mount Vernon?
Well, Camilla and Anna were born in Italy. They came from Italy.
Yes.
They were
yes.
young.
I remember Camilla because, of course, it would be my Aunt Camilla,
Yeah, yeah.
married to Tony Posher. I remember her telling me about when she came over on the ship from Italy,
Yeah.
that she got the measles.
Yeah.
And the doctor on the ship gave her special medicine so she would not break out and then cause a quarantine, and
Yeah.
she just about died.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she lived to be a real
90.
90,
and
yes.
wonderful.
A wonderful
Wow.
woman, yes.
Yeah.
So now, tell us, Marge, what school did you go to?
I went to Mamaroneck Area School.
Yeah,
Then I went to Central.
Oh, when did they redistrict or something?
Yeah, they redistrict. And then they changed it again. Then we went back to Mamaroneck Area School.
so
we
that
kept
really
kept going
sure.
back and forth. Then in the meantime, I went to the Catholic school,
Holy Trinity.
and I didn't care for it.
You didn't care for it, so you went back
I
to
thought I
public
went.
school.
Yeah, I went back to public school.
But that must have been very difficult.
No, it
changing
wasn't.
school.
You
It
know,
wasn't?
because all of us, we were all these small families living
Yes.
on Center Avenue.
Yeah.
The Gimanis and Abadas
So it
and
was just the neighborhood
yeah,
then changed,
and
and you
all
all
the
went together.
we all went together,
Yes.
and we
Oh.
all grew up together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any very special memories about any particular school event or happening or
Well,
teacher?
in Mamaroneck Avenue School, I did a lot of sports.
You did?
Yeah, I played
Oh.
a lot of sports. I won a lot of medals.
Uh-huh.
I don't have them.
What kind of sports?
Well, all running and
Oh.
baseball
Oh,
and soccer.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And of course, nowadays the women's sports are so
Yeah, and
up and
it was really a
good.
beautiful school. Oh, we had
Do
a
you
lot.
remember who your gym teacher was? You don't remember? That's okay.
I know her, but I can't think of her name.
Oh, it wasn't Miss O'Callahan.
No.
No?
She was a very small teacher.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah, for years.
I
she
bet
was-
it was Miss Wendell. Who
Yeah,
then married
yes.
Miss Wendell, Clara.
Yeah,
Clara
yeah.
Wendell, who is now O'Callahan.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's her.
I mean, I had her in school too.
Yeah, yeah,
as
that
a
was her
gym
when I
teacher.
went,
The
yeah.
little tiny
Yeah,
thing, but
yeah.
lovely
Well,
person.
she
really,
was
she
really,
had
yeah.
us enjoy
Yeah.
our sports.
It was
in
really
school.
nice,
Sure,
yeah.
Sure.
And I love Mamaroneck. I grew up in Mamaroneck, and I know everybody.
Yeah,
And
it's-
then we go
people
to
are
the,
wonderful
we go
thing.
near CVS. We sit near CVS on the
Oh,
bench,
you do.
and we see all our friends,
Yes,
and we
you
talk.
visit. Yeah,
And we talk
sure.
about living in
Uh-huh.
Mamaroneck.
Sure.
So we,
Tell me, how did the family manage during the Depression? Those years were so hard.
we got along because my father had a garden, and we had chickens.
Oh, sure.
We had a goat,
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
The goat gave milk? Or,
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. So we had
so
everything.
you were really self-sustaining.
Yeah, we really had.
How wonderful.
Yeah, we
But
had.
that's, you know,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what we had to do at that.
And then
those
in the garden, we had everything in the garden. My mother had 2 pear trees. She preserved them.
Oh.
We had fruit all winter long in summer.
Yeah.
And she.
Did you help her with preserving everything?
Yes, we all helped. We all
Yes,
helped. She,
yeah.
You know, we all, and then at the holidays, we all sit around the table, and we really had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And all of us, we all very close.
Close. Well,
And,
it was a warm family.
Yeah, and
Yes. Yeah.
we're really together. I only have Francis left, and my sister Tessie's
Yeah.
too, and Anthony Street, and
Tell
myself.
me, at Christmas time, was there anything special you do outside of having the feast? Did you have a Christmas tree?
Yes,
Yes?
yes. My mother made everything homemade.
She did,
Yes.
for the tree?
Yeah. Oh, she
do you
made
have any of those
No.
precious items?
No,
Oh, isn't
no.
it awful?
Everything
Yes.
is, gone.
Yes, it's
yeah,
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But we really had a nice, and
Sure.
we didn't have no television. We only had a radio.
Yeah, but do you
And we-
remember the first radio? Do you
Ye-
remember
yes,
having? Yes.
yes. And
Do you remember how big it was or
It-
what you heard on it?
I used to always come home from school. I used to listen to The Shadow.
Oh, really?
I
You love
think-
that spooky show.
Yeah. And there was a lot of different shows that we couldn't wait to come home.
That you enjoyed listening
yeah,
to.
But we always went to bed early. We went to bed 9 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we never stayed up
later.
later
Uh-huh.
than that. That
Well,
was,
but it was a prime thing for you to get your rest
Yeah.
to go to school. You were
yeah,
up
and
early in the
then,
morning.
and then my mother had an old stove with the iron. She used to iron all the clothes with
Yeah.
put the iron on the
On the
stove.
stove to heat up.
Yeah.
That's what she used. Well, she did not use electric
No
iron.
electric iron, no. And she ironed all her clothes with that. And she made homemade bread in that oven.
Yeah.
And
It was a coal stove.
yeah, it was a coal
Coal
stove.
stove.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And the only heat we had in the house was in the center of the house was a large grate, and the heat used to come up from there. When we
hot
used to
air.
come home from school, we used to jump on that.
You're talking about the hot air, the
Yeah,
big
yeah,
hot air plate
yeah.
that used to be in the
Yeah,
center
the-
hallway.
That was I.
Oh,
That
that
was
you-
I.
you'd
And
come
we
in
used to
from outside,
we used to
so
come out
cold.
from outside. We used
Yeah.
to jump on there and warm up. We
Sure.
had no heat in the bedroom. That was the only heat we had.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yet it was cold, and
And-
the house
and you
the
lived
house
fine.
and
Sure,
the
it was
fine
comfortable.
the house was comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah. And
The stove down in the cellar also burned coal, I'm assuming.
it was a furnace.
A furnace.
A big round furnace.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and my father used to put a coal and the wood in,
And the yeah.
the heat used to come up.
Sure.
And the heat up, all the
Now
room.
he had to then fire it. He had
Yeah,
to do it.
and bank it. And then he
Of
used to bank
course,
it so
at
the
night.
heat would stay.
Mhm.
But
And there'd be live coals for
yeah,
the morning
yeah.
to start up again.
yeah,
Did he wake up early in order to
Oh,
get the house warmer
yeah,
for you
yeah,
children?
yes. My mother used to get up 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, just to
And
do
to,
this.
to get all our breakfast ready
Yes.
and get our clothes ready
Oh,
for
life was
school.
so different. It was
yeah,
hard.
yeah.
But it was a happy
But
time.
she enjoyed it.
Of course.
She never
Well,
went
she
any.
had these wonderful 9 children. That
Yeah, and she never went
Enjoy.
anywhere. She enjoyed the house. Everything in the house she enjoyed.
Well, but I'm certain that all of you children brought home plenty of tales for her, and
She was.
you all were happy
Yeah,
children.
we were all
Yeah.
very happy, and my dad died very young. He was 64 when
Really?
when he died,
Oh.
and then we were left all
Of course.
all of us small, and
Yes,
so I
yeah.
didn't finish school
No. Mm-hmm.
because I had to leave because there was at that time.
you had to help support the
Yeah,
family.
so I was 13 years old when I
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where did you go to work at 13, Margie?
Happiness Laundry.
Happiness Laundry? Oh, just around the corner from
Right
your
next
house.
door.
Sure,
Oh,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
What did you do there at 13?
Well, I used to work on the press clothes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean on like the manglers, those
yeah,
great big
yeah.
heavy
Yeah.
Oh, my.
And it was so hot in there that we used to come out wringing wet.
Of course.
And it was, but
From-
there was no
from the
other.
hot iron.
And then we had the pure food.
Yes.
So I went there for a job. So she says to me, "Did you graduate high school?" I said, "No." I said, "I couldn't do."
That's
Well, she
gorgeous.
says, "We can't hire you."
Oh,
At that time, they
my.
wouldn't hire.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and the Happiness Laundry was the only job in town. And plus, you know where the A&P is?
Yes.
There used to be a big building there.
Uh-huh.
They used to have the Macintosh there.
Macintosh,
They used to
which
have,
made coats.
they
Uh-huh.
made raincoats.
Yes.
And then they used to have certain floors. They used to have different things going on. They used to make pocketbooks and things
Yes.
like. And so then we started getting a job
So that you
there.
didn't have to work in the laundry
Yeah.
with all the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, but there was nothing else.
But you did very well.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
did fine.
we-
You supported yourself.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
marvelous.
yeah. We
Sure.
really, I enjoyed
uh-huh.
living.
So tell me, Margie, who are you married to?
I met my husband in service.
You did?
Yeah, he's from Missouri.
Oh,
Yeah,
and you had
yeah.
him come here.
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Richard,
Richard
Yeah,
Graver.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And when did you get married?
in 1946.
Oh, right after the war.
Yeah,
World
yeah.
War II was over.
Yeah.
How did you meet him?
I met him going down to the city. We were down there going to see the shows.
Uh-huh.
My cousin,
And what was he, a sailor?
he was in the army.
He was in the Army.
Yeah,
And
he was
sure.
stationed in New York in the post office.
Uh-huh.
And he was coming home from work, and we were going to the railroad station. We met.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
And it was, yeah.
And you
Then
were
he-
married? When were you married?
A year after.
A year after,
Yeah.
in 46?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Do you have any children?
Yes, I have 3 girls and a boy.
Oh,
They're
that's wonderful.
they're all married. Yeah.
Yeah, and grandchildren?
5 grandchildren.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're
I have a
we're
wonderful,
lucky. Yes.
wonderful children.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, you
they're
look
ha-
like you've had a happy life
Yeah.
here. Tell me, what do you feel about living here in Mamaroneck all your life? What is so special about it?
I love it.
You love it.
I love it.
It's home.
I never would go anywhere else.
Yes, yes.
It's my home.
It's home.
I lived here so long, and I feel I know everyone.
And the
And,
people, yes,
and the
are so
people,
warm and
if I
caring.
walk someplace, I know somebody.
Yes.
If I go someplace else and I don't know anybody, I feel lost.
That's right.
And
yes.
I'm in
Yeah.
town here. This is my home.
Your home, and
Yeah.
you just feel that.
And
yes.
I'm happy here.
That's wonderful. Well, Margie Funicello Graver, thank you so very, very much for sharing all your little stories with us. It has been an absolute pleasure to hear and share. And you know, we never did show any pictures of you. Oh, we've been just so busy talking.
Yay.
I wonder if we can just show this particular picture of you when you were
18 years old.
18 years old. Oh, see that? Making eyes at all the young men in town. Uh-huh. That's just lovely. And we do have another picture that we could share. And this one is with a very pretty dress there, with the flowered bodice. And you're sitting on the rim of a car, and we see in the license plate that it says 1945.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Very good. Of course, the license plates were given out every year, so that definitely was 1945.
Yeah.
That's just wonderful. Margie, thank you so very, very much.
It's
It
so
has
nice
been a
being
pleasure.
here. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Nice
Thank you.
meeting you.
Enjoy the centennial.
Yeah, thank you. When it's going to be?
Our senior now, our Village of Mamaroneck senior, born in 1917 on Du Bois Avenue, is Janet Ebbinghaus Samela. Janet, welcome.
Thank you.
To being honored for being over 75 years in the Village of Mamaroneck. Tell me, Janet, you were born on Du Bois Avenue?
Yes,
But you didn't
I was
live there too long.
No, we probably moved when I was between 2 and 3.
Sure, so you
Sometime
wouldn't remember.
along
Where
there.
did you move to?
We moved to what is now Halsted Avenue.
What,
It
you
was
say what-
Railroad.
It was Railroad.
It was Railroad Avenue.
Oh,
And we lived almost, well, pretty near the corner of English Place.
In fact, you have one of your pictures here shows the
Yeah, the house across the street.
Here we are jumping. Let's go back and start from the beginning, because I absolutely love these photographs that you have brought with us. This one is of
my mother.
Your mother.
My
and
mother.
What was her name?
And her name was Janet Martin Ebbinghaus.
Janet Martin Ebbinghaus.
And that's
she
a
was born in the late 1890s?
Yeah, and that was her baptismal picture.
Look at
the
the baptismal
gown. Can you
Isn't
imagine?
it gorgeous?
Isn't that
And of
something?
course, this is a picture by Damon, the photographer's here
in Mamaroneck. So she was born in Mamaroneck too.
She was.
She was born in Mamaroneck too.
Wasn't she Chapman? Related to the Chapmans?
Yeah. My her grandmother was Margaret Jane Chapman. Margaret Jane Chapman Martin.
Oh. And that would have been the
right there.
The
That's Margaret Jane.
In this picture.
Right. That's right.
This is with you.
That's right.
And what is the grandma's name?
Margaret Jane Chapman Martin.
Martin. Oh, isn't that fabulous?
And she was close to 100 there.
I would think so.
90s, in the 90s.
Now
she was also
this
blind, I believe. They tell me she was blind. But then they didn't have, the knowledge of glaucoma and so forth. And
something went wrong.
yeah, something went wrong. That was it. You just lost
and this
it.
picture was taken.
I think.
About 3. So it probably
No,
takes
I don't
about
think so. It was probably, maybe about 2.5, somewhere around there.
Oh, isn't that
And,
wonderful? That's simply marvelous.
I was sitting in a cracker box. It seems to me that at once, when once I read when the picture was newer, I think it said you need biscuits. I'm not sure.
But that's what you did. You did buy this great big box of biscuits.
Everything we bought was from O'Prandy. He had his grocery store on Mamaroneck Avenue, and my mother and grandmother used to call and put an order in with Mr. O'Prandy, and you bought a half a pound of this and a quarter pound of that.
Now, did she then have some? And he delivered. That's what she did. She ordered it on the telephone.
Yeah.
What was your telephone number?
568J.
Party line. Just plain. All you did was lift up the telephone and operator said, "Give me 568J."
And you said
568J, and that would be it. Now, this particular picture is of Mom in school doing the maypole dance, and you feel that it is at the Depot School?
I believe so.
It must
I can't
have
imagine
been.
any other school, because she was born in Mamaroneck,
Yes.
lived in Mamaroneck, and I think that they lived on Winfield Avenue.
That's right. So she would have gone,
she
been
must
in the
have gone to the
jurisdiction
Depot
for the
School.
Depot School,
Sure.
which of course was on the corner of Mount Pleasant and Mamaroneck Avenue
Right.
by the railroad bridge.
Where that little bank is.
Yeah.
now.
Oh, did she ever say anything about her school days in the Depot School? Do you recall?
No, I don't.
You don't remember her
I don't
saying?
remember anything.
No, of course it was a long time ago.
No,
And while we're looking at old pictures, is this Grandpa?
that's my great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather. And what
That's
is
William
his
Martin.
name? William Martin. And of course he is in his fireman's
He was an ex-chief.
uniform, ex-chief.
Right.
Do you know what company?
He originally was with Hook and Ladder, and then he went over to Volunteers.
Volunteers, which was closer to home.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, he lived on Winfield.
Yeah, he looks like quite a distinguished gentleman.
He was born in Philadelphia
Uh-huh.
and came up here. That would be very interesting to know how these people met, you know?
That's right.
But
We'd really love to have the
I'd love
stories.
to know.
That's why one of the things that I do tell people is if they're doing their oral histories with their relatives, to write it down, because so you take a videotape and that's wonderful for
Yeah.
us to see, but the format's going to change.
Sure.
But if you put it down on paper, the letters don't change, writing doesn't change. So tell me, with your early years on Railroad Avenue, on Halsted Avenue, when you started school, where did you go to school?
I went to Berry Avenue School. But kindergarten was not in Berry Avenue School.
Where was
Kindergarten was there's a building at the end of Berry Avenue, just behind the gasoline station.
You're
It's there now.
talking about,
And it's an apartment building now.
Now it is, but it was
But it
originally
was
Van
originally-
Ammering Hall,
Yeah,
and
and that's where
probably
we
about
had
at
our-
the time that you had it, it could have
That's
been
where our
Forester's
kindergarten-
Hall.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But that's where
Forester's
we had the
Hall or
kindergarten.
the American Legion Hall.
I don't
It was
really
something
remember.
like that.
But
yeah.
we had kindergarten
Yes.
there, and then we went on to Berry Avenue School.
Yes. This picture here is of you in a Red Cross uniform. And you're probably about a year and a half
Yeah.
old. And I just think from the date of your birth in 1917 that this was most likely for the victory parade for World War I.
there was
They had a
some-
huge parade here in Mamaroneck in the village in 1919, the spring of 1919, and that
Probably.
looks like this was your special. I think it is adorable.
But there
You
was
look
some
so
sort
cute.
of an organization. A lot of
Well,
the
there
parents-
was
the
a-
mothers belonged to. I don't.
There was
I don't-
a
I
large
don't think
American
that
Red
they-
Cross organization here. Yes, yeah. And so then the next picture we have, and this one is on Railroad Avenue, Halsted Avenue, with your sister,
Grace.
your sister Grace, and you are the older
With the big bow in
but
my
with-
hair.
and of
yeah.
course, you say the house there,
The house
on the
is-
corner of English and Halsted
It's
is still there.
That's the one across the street.
Oh my!
And of course, we're standing facing my
Yes,
house
yes,
that I lived in,
I
which
see.
is now still there, but it's of course been very much remodeled.
Remodeled, sure. What do you remember about your school days in the kindergarten?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Very little,
do you
except
know
I
if
know where
do
we
you,
went.
do you recall if it was a half-day kindergarten? A
Oh
whole
yeah,
day?
it wasn't a whole day. It was only a few hours.
A couple of hours.
Sure.
Sure. How
Um,
did you get back and forth?
I well imagine that we must have walked. I mean, what else?
Well, but
were you
how
gonna
would
do?
would you walk with a friend? You don't remember?
Oh no, I'm sure that my mother must
Your
have
mother
taken
walked
us,
you.
Sure.
Sure. Sure.
I'm sure that
Now,
we
when
weren't
you
allowed to
then
go.
went to first grade, did you then go to the Barry Avenue School?
I went to Berry Avenue School. My first grade teacher was Miss Henderson.
Miss
Henderson.
Henderson. Oh, and why do you remember Miss Henderson?
I don't know.
Huh?
I think
Why
I
do you
remember.
remember Miss Henderson?
I don't know. She probably made an impression on me.
Yeah, she
I really
just
don't
was
know.
a wonderful
Miss
person that
Henderson,
you
yeah.
would remember.
Right.
Uh-huh. Where did you play when you were young? And
In the
living at home?
backyard.
In the backyard.
Oh, sure.
Uh-huh.
We had a side yard.
Yeah.
In the backyard. Backyard was mostly garden and chickens and rabbits.
Oh,
And,
Mom and Dad did have a
But
garden.
we had a
and-
side yard, and we used to play under the cherry tree and the lilac bushes.
Yes, yeah.
And, you know.
Oh.
And we weren't allowed
Do you
to play in
remember-
the front yard because that also had a large garden my grandfather kept.
Uh-huh.
Gladiolas in the spring, gladiolas in the summer, and hyacinths in the
Oh,
and tulips in the
wonderful.
spring.
Yeah.
And
What work did your father do?
my father was a master plumber,
A plumber.
right?
Oh. Did he have a business of his own?
No,
Did
he
work
worked
for
in
someone?
Greenwich. He worked in Greenwich
Oh.
for company Kinsel Brothers
Uh-huh.
for a very
How
long
did he
time.
get to work? Did he drive? Did he have his own
I
transportation?
don't remember how he got to work, but I do remember our first car. And he went out and he bought a Model T Ford. And he and my grandfather took that Model T Ford apart, bolt by
Both,
bit,
yes.
bit
yeah.
by bit by
Uh-huh.
bit, and they had it spread all over part of the group of the area there.
Right.
Right. And then they had to put it back together, but he had to find out how the damn thing
Did
worked.
he know how to do it?
I
No.
don't remember.
But he did finally put it
But
back
they
together
got
again.
it back together.
Sure.
And then he didn't have to have a driver's license neither. My mother just plain got in the car, pulled out of the, backed out
Yes.
the driveway and down the street. I mean,
Oh, well, I believe driver's licenses came about 1923, 24. Yeah, yeah.
The other thing so vivid in my memory as a child was Sammy Browder had a vegetable and fruit wagon.
Yes.
He was a peddler. And he went
Now,
up and
did
down.
he have a motor
No,
truck?
a horse and
horse
wagon. And they go, he'd come up what was on Railroad Avenue, Halsted Avenue, once a day. Oh, every other day, or I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I remember the one day that the horse dropped dead right opposite our house.
Oh, my.
Poor
Oh.
Sammy.
Oh,
was
dear.
upset.
Isn't that awful? That's awful. And so then, who did you marry?
I married Allie Samela.
Allie Samela.
Right.
When did you marry?
We married in 1940.
Oh, and here we have a picture of you and your oldest child. What's his name?
That's Bill. William Bill.
Uh-huh. And it was made about this picture
It was
made
made
about...
in, see, he was about 2, 3, probably about 44, 45.
44, yes.
44.
And you took this picture
To
mainly
send-
to send it to Dad, who was in service.
overseas,
Where,
yeah.
what service? Where was he?
He was in the Navy,
In the Navy. Uh-huh.
in the
uh-huh.
Pacific.
So that's just wonderful. What work did your husband do?
He was a letter carrier
Oh, with Mamaroneck Post
with the
Office?
Mamaroneck Post Office.
Oh, what, for how many years?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 20 years.
20 years.
something
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
yeah.
That's simply wonderful.
So,
So, Janet, you have lived here in the village of Mamaroneck all your life. Is there any one special reason why you just love to call this place home?
it's home.
It's home.
It's home. That's where I live.
Yes,
and they say,
the-
why don't you move on to
the
Florida with the
people,
rest of your
yeah.
family? And you know, it's
No,
a great
this
place
is-
to visit, but this is home.
This is home.
right.
Well,
And it probably always will be.
of course. Why, I mean, I love it too. That's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
But Janet Ebbinghaus Samela, thank you so very, very much for this wonderful interview and these gorgeous pictures that you shared
Well, you're
with
very
us.
welcome.
It was
It's a pleasure.
just wonderful.
It was
Thank
a
you so
pleasure.
much. Our very special guest right now is Helen Manning McDonald. Again, Helen was born in Mamaroneck 81 years ago. Helen, God bless you. That's simply
God bless me.
wonderful.
God bless me.
Oh, dear. And so where were you born on Mamaroneck?
On Horse.
On Horse?
No, I should say Railroad Avenue.
Railroad,
Then they
okay.
changed it to Railroad Avenue.
To Halsted Avenue.
I mean
you were
Halsted,
born on
yeah,
Railroad.
right,
Yeah, I don't
right.
know why they changed it. It
Right.
must have been sometime in the 20s that they did that.
Yes,
I'm not
and
quite
yes,
sure.
yes.
So
It was in the 20s.
tell me, Helen, who were your parents?
Michael, you want my dad's name? Michael.
Yeah, Michael Manning.
Right, J. Manning, and also Mariah E. Manning, my mom.
Mariah. What
Right.
was her maiden name?
Uh,
You don't remember?
yes,
It's okay.
I said with the pub. I did say Kelly.
Kelly. So
Yes.
she was Mariah Kelly.
Yeah,
Was Mariah,
Mariah.
how was Mariah spelled? Do you know? Now, this is a picture of them on their wedding day.
Yes.
Oh, they must have been married perhaps about 1910
Yeah, I bel
in New York City.
What? What are you saying?
when were they
18,
married?
you're saying. You're saying 1910.
When were they
was-
married?
Oh, that I don't know.
You don't remember?
No, I
you don't
don't.
know?
No, I
saying
don't have
about it,
all
but
that
this is a
literature.
picture of them, and they were married in New York City.
Yes.
Oh, that's such an
yes,
attractive picture.
Yes,
That's
I
wonderful.
think so.
So, tell me about your childhood there on Halsted Avenue. Was a happy childhood?
Yes,
Uh-uh.
yes. I came from a family of 8.
8 children in the
yes,
family.
And I'm the
Oh.
last of the litter
Oh,
left.
really, Helen? Oh, that's wonderful that we still have you.
Thank God. Yes.
So, you were born there on Halsted Avenue. Was there a doctor in attendance during the birth?
Dr. Hunter.
It was Dr. Hunter.
Right.
Oh, he probably at that time was president of the village.
He was.
He was.
Yeah.
Oh, did you also have any midwife in attendance?
But, Mrs. Callahan.
Mrs.
No.
Mrs. Cunningham?
Cunningham.
Cunningham.
Yes,
oh.
yes.
Did you know her later, that she had a feeling?
I knew the family. They
You
were
knew the
from,
family.
I guess, Bill Cunningham
Yeah,
and the
oh
whole
sure,
family.
of course, that Cunningham family.
Mm-hmm.
What work did your father do?
He was an interior decorator.
Oh, wasn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Did he have his own business?
Yes.
Out of the
yes.
home, or was
Yes,
it?
out of the home, right.
Do you know of any particular places he assisted in the houses?
Well, he did an awful lot of schools in Larchmont. Boothby, I think, used to get the...
Yeah, Boothby was the
Boothby,
superintendent of schools at
superintendent,
Mamaroneck schools.
right.
And you did work for him.
Yes, he mostly
Oh.
had all the schools. He did the Weaver Street Firehouse.
Yes,
also.
that was about 1925.
Yeah, and right up where I live, I'm trying to think of...
well, that's okay. That's all
no,
right.
Daniel Warren.
Oh,
he was
Daniel
the first
Warren.
one. Yes, he
Oh.
was the first one
And that was
to
about
paint that
1930,
school.
31.
Yes,
Oh,
it was
he
beautiful.
painted.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
marvelous.
yes.
Wonderful.
And my brothers worked for him.
Mom strictly then stayed home to worry about the 8 children in the home.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was wonderful.
Yeah.
Did your folks also have a garden?
Yes.
And chickens?
Yes.
I mean, that was...
And rabbits.
And rabbits.
Yes.
Oh,
And a guinea hen.
a guinea hen. Really? Why do you remember the guinea hen? With
Well,
such a
because
chuckle?
get back. I'll never forget it. My God, the neighbors complained. Get back. I could never. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he used to make a ruckus in the neighborhood or something.
terrific.
Yeah,
Yes, if you're familiar with them.
sure. You also mentioned to me something about the D.W. Griffith movie studio.
Yes, I was in America.
Okay.
And,
What did you do? You were an extra in America.
I was the youngest one there.
Yeah.
And
You probably were about 11 or 12 years old
I
at
wasn't
the time.
even that old.
No?
No,
Okay.
I was about
Maybe
oh,
10.
Yeah, even if
yeah.
I was that,
Sure.
because I remember Julia Kitchen.
But what particular scene was it that?
I don't know, but I remember it was a war picture.
Of course,
and
it
I
was the Revolution. The
Yes,
American
and
Revolution.
I was the youngest one, from the group, and I guess I was so afraid of the men with the
guns.
Yes.
Oh, because
Yeah,
when those
yeah.
guns did shoot,
Yes,
they truly made
they
a big
really
bang.
did, yes.
And of course, I'm
Yes, and I
assuming
used
that
to-
in this war scene, in this battle scene,
Yes.
all of the men had guns shooting.
They did.
Yes.
They did.
Do you remember
But I
where
must
it
have been
took
only-
place?
Yes, Orienta.
So you
Orienta
did go
Beach.
out to Orienta, to the
Yes.
movie lot.
We did.
Around there, and you
Yes.
were. Did you have to just stand there and look as an extra? Did you do something else? Do you remember? I mean, we.
I
hope-
was having. I remember Julia Kitchen and Loretta Marr,
Yeah,
and they were my neighbors.
they were neighbors.
Yes, and they
uh-huh.
were much older than me, and I was their. I guess they're
Their
supposed to be little.
little sister or
Yeah,
something with
yeah.
them. Uh-huh.
And they used. They would all dressed up in the
costumes,
old-fashioned
uh-huh.
costumes. along
You had
the-
a costume on too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Do
And the-
you remember what the costume was like?
No, I don't.
No,
I really
it's been
don't.
a long time.
But I remember the boys. They were newspaper boys.
Yeah.
My brothers, my
Uh-huh.
2 brothers. Yes.
They were newspaper boys
Mhm.
in the movie?
In the movies.
In the movie?
Yes.
Oh, when we go
Yes.
to see that movie, we're going to have to look for you.
Are they going?
Hopefully, we will show it sometime this year.
Oh.
Yes, here at the Emlyn.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Good.
that is something
Something
then to
to look
look
forward
forward
to.
to. And see if we can spot some extras that are from the neighborhood. That's
Yes.
simply wonderful.
Yes.
In your early years there in the 20s, were there very many pubs around town?
Yes, Mom. She had her stepfather. He had it in Columbus Park, the Kelly's Pub. That was
Kelly's Pub.
Kelly's Pub.
In the land which is now Columbus Park.
Columbus Park.
Okay.
And I think there was another one there, O'Neill's.
Pub.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But then Mom, She was very young, and I guess she helped out. They had, and her uncle, he had worked there, and he picked Mom up, and they had this old-fashioned ice box.
Well, they had an ice box. It wasn't
Very-
old-fashioned at the time.
No,
it was
no.
probably
Yes, well, we would call it that.
Sure.
And he just picked her up, and he threw her. I mean, I guess he just happened to throw her onto the. She landed on the ice box, and she had a big sliver, and into
Oh.
her eye.
Her eye.
Yes,
Oh,
and
my,
she had 9 operations on it. She lost the sight of her eye,
of her eye.
but then she
Oh,
had double
how
vision on
awful.
the other. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
dear.
Yeah.
You mean that she saw 2 of you?
Well, thank God. You know.
Yes. Oh, isn't that awful?
Yes.
Oh, those things happen, and of
Yes.
course they didn't
Yeah.
have the means
And
that
then
they
her-
have nowadays.
my uncle, her stepbrother, he went with Faye Bainter. You familiar with her?
Uh-huh.
Well,
Well,
he
she
was
was
in
an
the-
actress.
And he was because her stepfather, he worked in down in the Astor Hotel, and I guess that's how
Yeah.
they met,
Mhm.
because he got into movies too. He jumped
Oh.
one of the rivers here. He was a wonderful horseman,
Uh-huh.
and
You mean
and,
during the film America?
yeah, John Kelly.
Uh-huh. He probably was Paul Revere, jumping across the river
Yeah,
while he's sending
yes,
his message.
Yes,
We'll have
probably.
to look for him too in the movie America.
Well, I don't know if he, but Mom always spoke about that. He was
Uh-huh,
handsome.
You
know.
mentioned that you were 8 children,
Yes,
and that you had a brother who had an accident.
yes, he was 5 years old, and he was lost. He was drowned in the Mamaroneck River here across from, on Halsted, well,
On
Railroad
on
Avenue
Railroad
at that
Avenue
time.
At the time.
Yes, but across from where the
Hebrew Institute.
Hebrew Institute, yes,
Actually, it's
yes.
now
And they
the
couldn't
railroad
save
bridge.
him.
Oh dear! How did
Yes.
he get in the river?
I don't know if you notice that river there is very wide.
Yes, it is very wide, and
Yes.
also it then, particularly if there's
There
quite
was
a bit
another
of rain, they have the 2 rivers meeting
Right.
right there, and then they rush
Right,
out to the sound, so
right,
the water
right.
really goes quite fast.
I
Oh,
know
that
of
was
another.
sad.
There were 2 children. Another one on the other side, Eleanor Perone. She told me.
Yeah.
I lost my sister in that river
In the
too.
river, so
Yes.
that it really was
They
dangerous.
get very mean. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, a 5-year-old doesn't quite know, and they try all of these.
I
who
often
knows?
think, how did Mom ever? Because he was the second in the family, you know, too. And how did she ever have all
Of
those other
course.
children? I often thought of that,
Yes,
though.
the heartache
It was
that she
terrible.
must have had.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
But-
Was the 5-year-old brother younger than you or older than you?
I'm one of the youngest ones.
Oh. Do you
I was the la-
remember? Do you remember when he was in the accident?
No, but I remember when he was when they had laid him. When he was
Oh,
laid
yes.
out as a baby.
Of
you know,
course, at
yeah,
home.
Yes.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
always at home at the time.
At home. Well, I was
Yes.
born at home.
Well,
All
but
of us,
but
they-
the wakes were at home also
Righto,
at the time.
right, you're
yes.
right,
Oh,
yes.
So
Yes.
so sad. So
I do want to
heartrending.
tell you, we had my brothers and sisters used to play with Ted Emery. Have you ever heard of Ted Emery? He lived around
No.
the corner.
No.
He was in the movies. Yeah.
Really?
yes,
He
yeah.
was in
He was
D.W.
in-
Griffith movies too?
No.
This was others?
No. And
Uh-huh.
then I think Vito Sirocco, I think the Siroccos, they bought the house afterwards, a big house on Union Avenue.
Uh-huh. All right.
know.
We'll,
Yeah.
that was the house that Ted Emery lived in.
He did.
yeah.
Ted,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Very good. So, Helen, you seem to have had a wonderful life here.
did.
Marrying a local boy.
Yes.
Right?
No.
No, you didn't
No.
tell me about Mr. McDonald.
My husband
And
was
who
from County Cork.
County Court. He was.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And what was his name?
John E. McDonald,
John E. McDonald. And when
Right.
did you get married?
1937.
At
Holy
where?
Trinity.
At Holy Trinity.
Right.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Right.
Did you have a reception after?
at home.
At home. But that was lovely.
I got
That's
married during
wonderful.
Depression.
Of course, of course. But a home wedding is has some special feeling to it. It's so much nicer, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought
yeah,
so.
Yeah.
You know.
So, Helen, here you've lived here all your life. Do you feel that there is something very special about Mamaroneck, or there's something why you have stayed so long?
Well, I wouldn't have really, only because my daughter moved to San Diego, California, and I thought that was the most beautiful place.
Oh, you did?
I did. Only thing is, I couldn't get my husband to move out of Mamaroneck.
Yes, yeah, he loved it. He
He
had come
did.
from Ireland and
Yes.
found a home here.
Yes, he really
Yeah,
is. And
that's wonderful.
yes,
Yeah, so how many children do you have, Helen?
I have two
You have two.
girls.
Okay, that's wonderful. Well,
Yes.
Helen Manning McDonald, thank you so very, very much for this wonderful interview and so many of these stories that you told us about
Yes.
life in Mamaroneck years and
Yes.
years ago.
Yes.
Thank you so very, very much.
It's a
and the
pleasure.
best to you. Enjoy
Thank
the
you.
centennial.
Thank you, dear.
Stay.
Thank you. With me now is our senior citizen, Leo Spinelli, born in Mamaroneck in 1918 during World War I. Leo, welcome.
Right. It's good
So
to be
where were
here.
you born?
Where was it?
Yeah, where?
On White Plains Road, in Chancey's building, which is
Whose building?
Chancey's.
Chancy's
Oh,
building.
yeah, almost across from Father's.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Was there a doctor in attendance? Or?
No, it was a midwife. Our ambassador of goodwill, his mother,
You're talking
Phalis.
about Tex Phalis.
Tex Phalis.
His mother.
And his mother
Yeah.
brought it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you remember what her first name was?
No, I don't.
No,
I
just
don't.
Tex Phalis' mother. I
That's
think she
right.
was a midwife for
Right.
quite a few births here in
Yes.
that particular time. So you were born on Old White Plains Road. Did you live there for quite a while?
Not too long. Then we moved next to where Manzoni's Lodge is now, the house on the right.
Yes.
And then from there, we moved across the street next to that office building. There was two buildings, two
So
houses,
you
in that empty lot.
Uh-huh.
And we
So
lived-
you really were there in Washingtonville Square just about all your life.
Right, until 1927 or 28, we moved to New Street. And in 1930, we moved in the house
Where they
we're
are
living now
on
and still
Elliott
living
Avenue.
on
Yeah.
128 Elliott Avenue.
It's only 64 years.
Just so,
So
right,
now, here we have a picture of your mother and your sister Marie
right,
and your sister Katrina,
right.
okay? You were the only boy in this family. Did you get special treatment?
Well, I wasn't the only boy. I'm the only one boy living now.
Oh,
My mother lost my father and 5 children. The
Leo.
other children didn't live to just about 2 years old, and that's all.
So she had 8 children
Eight-
and
eight.
only 3 survived.
That's right.
Oh, Leo, how terrible, how heartbreaking.
Yes.
How old were these children?
They died before they were 2 years old.
Oh,
No.
do you know what they died of?
We're
I
not
mean,
sure.
You don't know.
No, we're not sure.
Were they all born here in Mamaroneck?
Yes, all born in Mamaroneck.
Oh,
Yes.
isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
And your father then died young also?
Right. He was 39 years old,
What did he die of?
and we never could find out that.
Yeah.
We got the the death certificate, and the doctor said it really doesn't say.
Doesn't say,
No.
yeah, at that time.
I always thought he died of Bright's disease, kidney trouble, but that's not what it was.
No, they would have made some kind of a notation.
Right.
Oh,
That's
how
right.
awful. So your mother and father came from Italy? Where in Italy?
My father came from Fuji, and my mother came from Santa Teresa.
So that's in Sicily.
Right.
About 5 miles north of Taormino. A
Right.
beautiful area.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. When did they come to this country?
Well, I'm not sure when my father came, but he went back to marry my mother and then came back
He
again.
had his sweetheart there.
And he came here because he had a sister and a brother
Yeah,
living
the
here.
family were here.
Right, the family were
And there
here.
were a number of people from Santa Teresa who moved here. All the
Right.
Reganos and Lanzas are from Santa Teresa.
That's right.
So it was all paisanos, so it was a place to come that was a bit like home
Right.
in the new country. That's
Right.
wonderful. What work did your father do?
He was a mason.
A mason.
Right.
Oh,
In fact,
construction business.
he worked, although he wasn't here when the St. Vito's first church was built, he worked on lifting it up because it was flooding. So he worked on the foundation when they lifted it up. So,
Do you remember him telling you some stories about
No,
them
I was-
raising? Now, this was the very first building of St. Vito's on Madison Street.
Right.
And it was built by the Italian community on street level, and they had a flood. And so
Right.
they decided to raise the
Right.
building up, and then that's what your father worked on,
right.
elevating the building
Yeah.
to its present
I
location.
never knew my father because I wasn't quite 5 when he died, so
Yes.
I
No.
don't remember him.
That's hard for a young
Yes.
man, for a little boy. Yeah.
Mm.
So, what kind of tales do you have to tell about Mamaroneck in your childhood?
Well, like I say, I lived in Washington all my life, and I tell people that I saw at one time a fire where they come out with the hose that's on 2 wheels that they usually pull by hand, and everybody says we weren't old enough. Well, it would just so happen that the fire truck was on convention, and the fire was where the Lanza Brother garage is now.
Yes.
So out of the
girls from
volunteers,
volunteer,
they came out
firehouse.
with that there, and they went to in front of Richie's, hooked up to the water, and came back to the fire. And so I saw
so
that
what you saw-
in my time. So everybody says,
They still know how
but
to
that
use
was
the hose
that was
part.
the reason.
Yeah.
That I was old enough. That,
Oh, that's
but that
wonderful.
was the reason I saw it.
Washingtonville Square. There was supposed to have been a fountain there. Do you remember?
Yes,
that?
there was a fountain right in the middle, because on the right side where that their auto parts is now, the sidewalk took a left turn, but it was never completed because it went to the road. But that was supposed to go around that monument, but they never did cut
Yeah.
that corner off.
Yes.
It stayed that way. And in fact, in front of the fountain is on Halloween, is to have big bonfire in the middle of the road,
Really? In the middle of the road
Right.
there in the square?
right in the square.
Oh,
And when they gave up,
would the children be in costume?
well, they had, in fact, all the grown-ups were the ones that supervised the fire, and they would have a wagon, and they would pull it and empty everybody's yard out. And them days, they did a lot of wine, so
Yeah.
there was a lot of boxes from wine.
Oh, I see, from the grapes.
Right.
Yes.
And,
oh,
and,
that
and
burned
it was,
beautifully.
that thing used to be maybe 20 feet, 25 feet high.
Yeah.
And they just lit it up right in the middle of the road. And
Oh.
then when they stopped doing that, they did it right in that lot behind the bakery, and that auto parts right in that lot.
In that lot. That
Uh,
is
for a
still
while.
an empty lot
Yes.
now.
And then from there, it went to Mamaroneck Avenue School, where it was supervised by the village. And they had a fire truck there. After a certain time, they would
Yeah.
just put it out because they
Well,
wanted
why
the
did
kids to
they-
go home.
Yeah, why did they stop this?
Because they got too much traffic.
Too much traffic.
And then
It was
at that
just too
time,
big.
that one of the Regano boys, Larry Regano's brother, was killed right there crossing the street. And then they sort of,
Oh, and that
it had nothing to do with with that,
with
but they
the-
figured it was
the
too dangerous.
festivities. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Just too
So they
much
stopped. Yeah, they
traffic
stopped
and
that.
confusion.
Right.
Oh, dear. So, Leo, here we have a picture of you during World War II, when you were in the Army.
Army,
Yeah.
right.
When did you go in?
In the December of, was it 42? December 42.
December of 42.
Yes.
Uh-huh. How old were you?
Oh,
18 to 42?
I have to figure it out.
20? 24?
something like that.
Something
yeah.
like that.
That time my brother Rico went in with me and Al Posher. And
You all went in at that same
that's right.
induction.
Most of them went into the engineers, and I went to the Army.
To the Army.
yeah,
Where did you see service?
well, I was in New Guinea, and from New Guinea we went to the Philippines, and then from the Philippines we went to Japan. So we actually came back home on
So you went to Japan after the war was
yes,
over?
Yes, we went there. And I was there a few months before I came home.
Before you came home.
And,
how were you received in Japan as conquering soldiers?
Very good. They were very. It was pleasant. I liked it.
pleasant.
I
It was
liked the
fine.
country.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
Yeah.
In fact, we went to Kyoto. I went to Kyoto where the emperor went to pray,
Yeah.
and that was one place they didn't bomb at all.
No,
And it
no,
was
they
it was
respected that
they
religious
respected that
place.
area, and it was
That's
good.
wonderful.
Good.
So, Leo, you are a barber,
Right.
and you have had a barber shop in Mamaroneck
Good.
for how many years?
Well, since I come out of the Army in '46, and I bought the place in '46, and I was
Who did
located
you buy it from?
from Benny and Nicholas,
Yeah,
and it was located between the bank and the fish store.
down next to, where the
Dime
big
fire
fire
now,
was,
which is
yeah.
yes, and it actually in this coming February would be 12 years since that fire.
really?
That's
That was
right.
a terrible fire.
Right.
Did you lose anything very precious in that particular
Right.
fire?
They, for some reason or other, the village wouldn't let us take anything out of the building. They condemned
Yes.
it and
Yeah,
wouldn't let us take
they
anything out.
wouldn't even let you go in and get
No, and there was no reason for it because there was no fire in the shop. In fact, we were in there, and after the fire, I got a permit to, with the village, to go in there for 2 hours, and I would be responsible if anything happened to me. And while I
Yeah.
was in there, the phone was ringing. The phone didn't even.
Sure.
It was still
And where
ringing.
is your barber shop located now?
We moved a couple of times on Mamaroneck Avenue now, and now it was on Halsted Avenue, 525 Halsted Avenue.
And what is it called?
Off the court building, and it's a village barber shop. It's still
Village
called a
Barber
village
Shop.
barber shop.
Wonderful.
Right.
I think you're an institution in town.
Right. By the way, I started to work in a barber shop on the corner of, which is now Center Street and White Plains Road, back in 1929. I was going to grade school
You were 11.
when my cousin had a shop there.
Yeah.
And being that I was the sort of the gang leader for my area,
Yeah.
and being my had no father, so my uncle told my mother, send him to the barber shop to keep him
Right,
out of
to
trouble.
Keep him out of trouble.
And that's how
Yeah,
it started.
yeah. Leo, I grew up with you.
Right.
Okay, we were in the same group of teenagers.
Right.
And it was a wonderful group of teenagers, but you boys had a special club. What was it called?
Well, it was ABC and the Century Club. And
But the Century Club was after the war.
right.
before
When we
the
came
war,
out,
it
it was
was
the
the
ABC.
ABCs.
Right.
And it was...
And in fact, the first meet we had was in my house.
oh, really?
Yes, on
Oh,
Elliott Avenue.
yeah, yeah.
And from then on, we went.
And one of the things that the ABCs did was play a marathon
Right. In
softball game.
1939,
Yeah.
we tried to find some team that would play us to play a marathon game, and we finally did. They formed a team from Larchmont to play us,
Yeah.
and we.
And how long was this marathon baseball game?
Well, we played 125 innings, and it was stopped late at night by the police department because the neighbors were complaining because it started 5:30 in the morning,
Oh.
and it were 15 and a half hours.
Oh, this was a
playing ball.
Sunday, 5:30 a Sunday morning.
Right.
Mhm.
So you were able to come in the game and leave and come back again.
Well, there must have been lights on the field for you
Well,
to
we
play all
we
that
used. That's one reason they were able to stop the game is because on the third baseline cars were on the sidewalk giving us light, And
the headlights of the cars were
right,
on.
and some cars drove on a field to the first base side and gave us
Oh.
light on that side. And once we had, they were using the car lights, any ball that was hit in the air would only take one base because you had to wait till it come down to see it.
Yeah.
But Pat Federico pitched the first 75 innings.
Yeah.
I pitched the last 50 innings, so I actually was the winning pitcher in the game.
I see, Leo, I have some pictures here of you in costume. You are a trustee emeritus in the Mamaroneck Historical Society.
Right.
And in this particular costume, do
Right.
you remember when that
Well,
was?
there was one that we had the 300th anniversary,
That would be in 1961.
right, and then we had the centennial, the Constitution of 200,
1983.
yeah, 200 years,
Yeah,
and I was in costume with that.
So
and so
you
I
really
was in
enjoyed being part
Right,
of the
I was with the-
Mamaroneck Historical Society.
Right, very active with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So Leo, here you've been a backbone of the community for all of these years.
Right.
Tell me why you stayed in Mamaroneck.
Well, I always brag about Mamaroneck. I think Mamaroneck is, of the communities in this area, the best one. We have the best parking for transportation to the city.
Yeah, you're talking
We
about
have-
the railroad
Right.
station.
We have
Uh-huh.
we have our own beach, which the other communities don't have. And we're situated just right.
Yeah.
Short distance to the city and a short distance in the real country.
In the country,
Right.
right?
We're in the best spot.
And of course, through these 75 years, we've grown from country really to the place we are today with no more empty lots.
That's right. Very few empty lots
No.
is right. That's,
So, Leo Spinelli, thank you so very, very much. This has been a pleasure. And thank you for all the dancing that we went
we
to.
did together, right?
When we were in high school.
That's
it was
right.
Really a fun time
It
and
is.
a marvelous place to come from and be
That's right.
part of. Thank
That's
you so
right.
very much, Leo.
Fine.
Our special seniors now are a husband and wife team that were both born in Mamaroneck in 1917. We have Marie Spinelli DeRusso and Rico DeRusso. So welcome and to this happy occasion for the centennial.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So both of you were born in Mamaroneck?
Yes.
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 Did you know each other as children? Did you live close by?
We lived close by, but I don't think we knew each other.
No.
No, not really, no. We
But
actually...
I knew the brother. I knew Leo.
Yeah.
You knew Leo, Leo Spinelli.
Leo
Uh-huh.
Spinelli.
Yes. Then we both worked in the Pure Food.
Oh,
factory.
the
And
Pure Food
actually-
Factory where the A&P is now on Mamaroneck Avenue.
No,
The Pure
across
Food-
Pure
the
Food
Across
was
the street that they
across the
ripped down.
street
There's
where
an
we
empty
now
lot
have the
now.
empty lot.
Right.
Yes, sure.
And that's where we worked together for about 9 years, well before we even...
Oh,
Thought of-
thought about marriage.
Yeah,
Oh,
thought
isn't that
about going out,
wonderful?
yeah.
Oh, and you worked here in town and you lived close by?
Right.
Now, Marie, you lived on Elliott Avenue?
Well, we lived the same as my brother Leo Spinelli. We lived on Mamaroneck Avenue. We moved to New Street.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Elliott Avenue.
Elliott
This
Avenue.
is where we are.
When did you go to work for Pure Food?
I went to work, I gotta figure out, I was 16.
16.
16.
Oh, so
We
you
had to
left
leave
high
school.
school.
Well,
Oh, it was
we had to.
depression.
It was depression.
Depression.
Then my mother was working,
Yes.
so
So you just had
all
to
had
add to
to
the
add,
family
yes.
income. There was no
Yes.
choice. Yeah, but you
well,
did
actually,
well.
no, when I started when the NRA came in. Everybody else was earning $9 a week, and then
Yeah.
we started, we were getting 12.
Oh.
And we were bringing home at $11.88.
That
Yes.
was quite a bit of money at that
Yeah, oh,
time,
yes, it
particularly for a
was.
16-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. And Rico, when did you start working at Pure Food?
Well, I was 16, around 17 years old when I started.
Uh-huh.
And from there, I was there a couple of years or more, and then I was laid off.
Yeah.
And then I went to work for the Larchmont Nurseries on the Post Road,
Oh,
doing tree
yes.
surgeon work.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We used to go out and do all that tree surgeon
Yeah,
work for the Larchmont
yeah.
Nurseries.
Uh-huh.
But then the weather got cold, and then there was no work out there.
Yes, of course.
So after
seasonal.
After about a year or 2 years out away from the Pure Food, I went back just walking around to say hello to,
Yeah.
and they asked me if I wanted to come back.
Oh, so they
So
knew they had
I
a
went
good
back,
employee.
I went back into the Pure Food, and I wound up putting 52 years in there.
52 years in the Pure Food. Oh, God bless. That is fabulous. Talk about a faithful employee. What did you do there?
Well, I was in charge of the first floor department, and we handled all the machinery that ran the canned goods,
Oh, yes.
and I had to do a lot with all the mixing of the food.
Okay.
In that
Okay,
area.
That you got the right
In that area,
combination.
yeah.
Sure, sure.
And I had to prepare everything early in the morning,
Yeah.
so when the people came into work at 8 o'clock,
Oh.
everything was all set up
So
for
you
them.
really, yes.
And from then, we had to take care of the what they call a retort, where all the canned goods used to go in to be sterilized after it was
Yes.
cooked,
Uh-huh.
and to get that all organized in the morning.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
really were concerned
Yeah,
with
but there
production
was a lot
then.
of
It was,
a lot of work that went on
Yes.
during the day.
Oh, wonderful. It was such a marvelous place here in town.
Well, we had a good product.
Yes,
very
a
good.
good
The
product.
stuff was great,
Yeah.
and all fresh. Everything went in it.
Uh-huh.
I would eat every part of it.
Yes.
It was great
yes,
because I
it was
seen what
good.
went in it.
Of course.
And we handled it. We made.
Were you at all familiar with the boss?
Oh,
And who was the boss?
Well, at that time, my foreman, the boss, was Jake Young,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
and the owner was Myers and Stoll, Mr. Myers and Mr. Stoll.
Stoll, S-T-O-H-L?
Those
yeah.
two men
Uh-huh.
started the business
Yeah.
some time ago in New York.
Did they ever say why they came to Mamaroneck?
No, I never did
No,
ask
they
her
never
why
did
they
say.
came.
Yeah, I
guess,
just wondered. But you know, let's go back to before the Pure Food.
Yeah.
Both of you attended Mamaroneck Avenue
Yeah.
School.
Yes, we did.
And here, this is a picture of Marie's third grade class at Mamaroneck Avenue School. Do you remember who the teacher was, Marie?
I don't know if it was Miss Carter.
Mrs. Carter.
Mrs.
Could have
Carter
been
was
We
in
had
fifth
two.
grade.
We had a Miss Carter,
Carter
and
and Mrs. Carter.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah, what's what I don't remember.
yeah, you don't remember.
Not
Yeah.
really, I'm not sure.
Uh-huh.
But I know she was a teacher at
Do you
the
remember the
time.
principal?
Oh, Miss McLaughlin. Oh,
Yes.
I'll never forget Miss
Yeah.
McLaughlin. Once principal for the whole school.
Oh, yeah.
She was,
She was good.
she was very
good.
good,
Yeah,
yes.
she was a disciplinarian,
She
but
was.
she still cared for the children.
Oh,
She
yes,
did. Yeah.
She did.
Now it was her father who was the second president of Mamaroneck Village,
Oh,
Joseph McLaughlin.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was a family that
Yes.
is still here. We still have McLaughlin people here. Yeah,
Well,
descendants
she had a
of them.
sister that was in charge of the cafeteria at the high school.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
Her sister was in charge of the
Yeah,
cafeteria.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, but that was
Yeah,
good.
yes.
So, tell me about your childhood memories of playing in Washingtonville. Do you remember anything in particular?
Well, I wouldn't, maybe he has some, but
Do you remember any circuses or anything?
Oh, yes, I remember, well, mostly carnivals, not
Carnival,
circus. Yeah, they were
okay.
small carnivals.
Uh-huh.
Every year they used to have one, but then
Where
that
did they
died
hold
out.
it? Where
Huh?
did they hold it?
Well, they used to hold it where the restaurant is now,
Richie's.
Richie's Restaurant.
Oh, on the corner
Yeah,
there
that
of Grand
wasn't
Street and
there
Mamaroneck
before.
Avenue.
That was
It
all
was an
built.
empty lot.
In an empty lot there.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, we were all involved with the church on Madison Street.
Oh, St. Vito's
St.
Church.
Vito's
Yes.
Church.
Yeah.
Well, that's
yeah.
before the new one was built. The one that
Yes,
you go to
yeah.
now. But
So-
that's where they had carnivals.
Uh-huh.
And,
Do you remember attending the old St. Vito Church?
oh, yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Where Father Cocozza was
Yeah,
pastor?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
Yeah.
lived on Mamaroneck Avenue.
Yes.
In one
He
of the
did?
buildings, yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah, he
didn't
lived
know
in
that.
Mamaroneck,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah,
now,
we
do you
remember going
remember
there.
when the new church was built, when Father Del Negro
I
came?
watched every brick and every nail that
You
went in that church.
did?
Yes.
Why?
Because I lived right on the corner.
Oh,
And I'm
so
looking
you
out
saw it go up.
I'm
Yeah.
looking out the window with my grandfather, and
Yeah.
he watched every nail, every beam that was put on that
Oh,
church.
and I bet he
The s-
loved every
the
bit of it.
Santoris had all to do with
Yes,
it.
yes, Bastia Santoro's
It was just a
father.
swamp at one time.
It was.
It
Well,
was a
of
swamp.
course, you know, where
Yeah.
the school is, when they made the St. Vito school, they had to put in pilings because it was so wet. I mean, a stream used
Yeah.
to come down through there.
Yeah, well, it was all swamp. The swamp area went all the way back to where the school is now. All that area was
Yes,
just swamp.
really.
Yeah.
See that? And did you wonder what in the world are they doing building a church there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we watched it go up. In fact,
Uh-huh.
the church was supposed to be different than that, what's there now. They're supposed
Yeah.
to have two high towers
They were
on the
supposed to
on the
have
side,
built on.
but they cut them short.
Yeah.
I guess they ran out of money.
Yeah, it could very well be,
Yeah.
but you know, it was
No,
getting to
that's-
be
so that's the way
Depression
the-
time when
and-
that occurred.
And where the church is now, and you go downstairs, where the pews and everything, well, that wasn't supposed to be. That was just
Yeah.
a basement.
I
but
know.
then they couldn't go any further.
That's
So-
because
So
it
they
was
made
the
the,
Depression time.
Yeah.
So you
was-
go downstairs now,
And it
that's
was a
where-
poor parish,
yeah.
but it is such a
Yeah.
warm, friendly parish.
Yeah.
Tell me,
Yes.
Marie, did you belong to any organizations when
At
you
the
were a young
church,
girl?
Yes, we had the Children of Mary.
Yeah.
I was a teenager, and
Uh-huh.
of course we had a basketball team.
Oh, you
We went
did.
to
Did
other
you play
churches.
basketball?
Yes, I
Yeah.
played basketball. We had a basketball team. We
Where
went to
did you
Portchester.
actually play the game?
In the schools.
In the
See,
schools?
we didn't
Yeah.
in the public schools.
Yes,
is where
uh-huh.
we played.
Oh.
Yeah, we played. I remember a church in Portchester. We
Yeah,
should
that
travel
you
to
went there to
Portchester,
play.
because
Uh-huh.
because they had the Holy Name also. They had a society.
Yes.
We had the Children of Mary. We had the Holy Name, and so did they.
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
we did. Of course, and I was very interested in sports. I
Yes.
also played baseball.
Baseball. Uh-huh. Well, your brother Leo was into sports also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we were.
Sure, that's
sports
wonderful.
oriented.
So we have a picture here of your wedding at St. Vito
Yes,
Church.
yes,
When did that take place?
And November 26, 1942.
1942.
52 years now.
Oh, wonderful,
52
wonderful.
years.
And of course, it did take place in the St. Vito Church.
Church.
And this is, you can see the altar,
The altar.
how it was decorated with the angels on either side.
And then we had the marble back, you know.
Yes.
Well, that's
Yes.
the original.
Yeah, that's the original.
When
That
they
is
built
the
the church, that
original.
was the original altar.
Yes, yeah, yeah. 1942, it would have been, it was not changed.
No.
From 1930 to
no.
42.
Quite a few years
it,
after
it
that
was
was
the
changed,
same.
really.
And of course, who was the priest behind there? I don't even.
Father Julius.
Father Julius.
Julius,
Oh yes, he
yes,
was
Father
a wonderful,
Julius.
wonderful assistant pastor.
Yes.
That's just wonderful.
Yes.
So you went into service, Rico, the same time as your brother-in-law
Yeah.
Leo
Yeah.
in December 1940.
December
Nine-
21st.
1942. And what did you go into? What?
I was in the
service?
engineers,
The engineers.
combat engineers.
How come you went into the combat engineers?
Well, when you fill out your report, and
Yeah.
when you first go to a camp, up in camp, well, they can tell by that, where you most fitted.
Oh, I see.
So
sure.
the test that you take,
Yes,
they
of
can tell
course.
where you would
And
be
of
better.
course, you know, even the work that you did at Pure Food was mechanical. You had to be concerned with
Yeah.
those machines,
Oh,
that
yeah.
what went into them and
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
and how you did it. That's wonderful. And where did you see service?
Well, I had training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri,
Yes.
engineer training.
Uh-huh.
And then from there we went to Camp Claiborne, Louisiana,
Yes.
and then port of embarkation at New Orleans,
Uh-huh.
and we stood there a week or two, and then we know that we were going to be shipped out.
Yeah. Where
And,
to?
And I was lucky enough to get the wife, Marie,
Yeah,
come down.
Marie. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then he
And I
went
was
to-
lucky to see her after 4 months.
Oh, you were newlyweds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
well-
we
Sure,
married him
of
at
course.
26, and he went in.
Oh,
Yeah.
We couldn't get married. They wouldn't let us get married.
yeah,
But then after I was put in
In the
1A,
service.
yeah.
then I went and asked them. I said, well, now I can get married.
Yeah.
They said, sure, and we'll give you a month home.
really?
So they gave
Oh.
us a month home. Yeah,
Oh.
but we couldn't go out of the state of the city.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
no.
Yeah, you had to stay around.
Well, anyway, then it came time to be transported out. So they wanted
funny.
45 engineers,
Yeah,
but we didn't know where we were going.
uh-huh.
But they needed 45 engineers. And so we went all the way to, we thought we were going through the Panama Canal. We wind up in Cuba, Guantanamo Bay,
Guantanamo
Cuba.
Bay, yeah.
And we stood there. Then we went on, and I thought, sure, we're going to Panama. But then we went further. We went to the British West Indies, all the way down to Trinidad,
Oh, really?
the tip of
Oh,
Venezuela,
Yeah, yeah.
the little
Now,
island
isn't
of
that
Trinidad.
strange? What did you do there?
That was funny.
Well, when we got there,
Yeah.
They trained as an engineer. And they put him
all
in-
the engineer combat men that were ready for combat, but they were
Yeah.
down there 2 years and they were ready to, they were going nutty.
Of course.
So they had all their barrack bags and everything ready in the barrack, and we thought we'd go home with them when we hooked up with
Of
them.
course.
But they says, no, you fellas just got down here. You're not going back with them. So we got stuck down there, and they went home.
Yeah.
But then they didn't know just where to place us at that time. So they got the single car, the MPs,
Yeah,
the truck,
yeah,
the
they
motor
didn't quite
pool,
know what to do with
and
all
they
of
came
these
down
men.
and they picked on, and then we were on unattached surface,
Yeah, yeah.
and I wind up in the quartermaster unattached.
That's what
that's
we were
crazy.
stayed for about 3 years. And they-
Yeah.
they
Lasted over
came
3
home.
years.
Yeah, yeah,
Both boys
But
came home.
I had a furlough though from
Yeah.
there.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then when I went back, they had a lot of work for me.
Sure, sure.
Exactly 3 years they were in the
Oh,
service.
yeah,
Both of them
that's
came. They went
wonderful.
in the same time,
Yes,
my
and they
brother
left.
and him.
Well, but
And
it
they
was
came home
like
3
the end
years
of
at
the
the
war,
same
too.
time,
Sure.
yeah.
But they,
Do you have any children?
3 daughters.
3 daughters. How wonderful. Here's a picture of your 50th, the party for your 50th anniversary 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Right.
And that is what, grandchildren in front there?
Those are the twins. We have a set of twins.
Set of twins.
They're the
Oh,
youngest grandchildren. We
yeah.
have 8 grandchildren.
Oh, how wonderful.
And they're the
Yeah,
youngest.
yeah. Grandchildren are blessings,
Yes,
aren't they? They
certainly
really are wonderful. Then here is must be your formal 50th anniversary
Yes,
picture,
that's-
which is lovely. Just beautiful. Yeah. So that's just wonderful.
Yeah.
So both of you have stayed here in the village of Mamaroneck all your life, in Washingtonville in particular. Do you have anything special to say about staying here
Well,
all of this
yeah,
time?
well,
And
all I can say is we had children. We're central area. We had the school across the field.
yes,
We had
oh,
the
so
church at the
convenient.
corner.
Of course.
And anywhere you want
We're
to go,
so
you go on a car
convenient.
and take a bus.
Yes.
And then I'm the type of person that stays put. I
Stays
like to
put,
stay put.
sure. But apparently you found whatever you
But we-
wanted
yes,
here to
right
make
here.
a warm family atmosphere for you and your children and your mother and sister and brother. That it was wonderful to then be here and stay here and be part
Yes.
of it.
But I liked it because at that time, at that age, when we were growing
Yeah,
up,
sure.
the excitement in the village of Mamaroneck was terrific.
Really?
There was so much going on,
Oh,
and we just loved anything that was going. And not only that, the area
Yeah.
surroundings and everything
Yes.
was just great.
just great. The
But
energy.
then too, we were born and raised there, and we had
Yeah.
sisters and
It
brothers
was
and
home.
had
It was
parents there,
home.
you know.
Yeah.
And my parents, my old folks, had a store there, and
Oh, that's
I worked in
wonderful.
there for
Of
quite a-
course.
in fact, they raised me, the
Yeah,
old folks.
just
But anyway,
wonderful.
the surroundings, everything around Mamaroneck was just
Yeah,
great.
It was home.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
home.
Yes.
Yeah.
it is.
We love it.
Yeah.
Rico and Marie, thank you so very, very much for this very interesting
Well,
chat.
it
I
was a
have
pleasure.
so
It was a
enjoyed it.
pleasure.
Our
Thank you.
And enjoy the centennial.
We
Thank you
certainly
so,
shall.
so very much.
Thank
Thank
you for
you for
everything.
having
Yeah.
us, right.
Thank you for
Yeah.
having us.